And what we need at this moment is guys to step up and guys to really show the character and guys to really put the team on their back. And, you know, we haven't had that. And again, I'm 100% responsible for all of it.
RSL Nation, welcome back to the
Bros. Awesome.
Cool. How are you? I mean,
I'm good.
I'm only asking how you are because really last night, Wednesday night, was really rough.
It was a sad, depressing evening, day. We'll get more into all of our emotions, all of our feelings from last night. But I'm doing great. The weather, it's officially according to the fall equinox. Today's the first day of fall. Today on Thursday, but I think it's not till Saturday. But also, for those of you who aren't watching via YouTube, I got a haircut. My flow is gone. I feel more aerodynamic.
You didn't say anything to me because one, you probably thought I was going to notice, and two, because you wanted to surprise me, which, yeah, tells you how much I noticed. Hey, looks good.
Yeah. Shows how much you notice detail.
Man, I am so bad with detail right now. So, hey, but I'm glad you cut it. How long have I told you that you needed to cut it?
Too long.
Yeah.
No, but how are you doing?
Um, so last night was rough. Um, not only were the kids not letting me watch really well the game, but the parts that I was able to watch, which I find I watched all the game just with just with a 5-year-old just bouncing on my back and stuff. So I got annoyed with that. I was getting annoyed with RSL. I get onto X afterwards. I threw out some tweets. Luckily, they weren't like drunk tweets where I was like I didn't even know what I was saying. So this morning was all right, but my favorite Argentine team, River Plate, played this evening. They did win, but again, I started with the X stuff because I'm still frustrated from last night. There was some controversy in that game, so I'm just like boom, 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 just throwing out tweets everywhere.
And then on top of it, Messi gets subbed out in last night's game. So
I'm not worried about that, but
but somehow Inter Miami they did win without Messi and Jordi Alba in the game.
it's true. But I will say this: I did send out one tweet and I called someone a bobo. For those that don't know, that's the phrase that Messi used. Que mira bobo, meaning, what are you looking at, fool? I called someone a fool today just because heat of the moment.
Hey, it's in the past. It's in the past.
It was only like 45 minutes ago.
It's in the past of now. So
It is officially in the past. Yes. So, we're here,
we are
but
here.
we're not doing
I've said this multiple times when we've had RSL bad defeats like this. We need to forget it and move on. But in this situation, it's so hard to move on because with only 5 games left, how can you? When we're at 6 points and it's tighter than ever. So, will you want to just get right into it for this game?
Let's go.
Let's get right into it. So let's start off with this lineup. So very similar to Saturday against San Jose with a couple of changes. Obviously, no Vera because of yellow card accumulation. We see Glad and Silva and no Brody. Instead of Brody, we have Hidalgo playing over there on that left back. And then instead of Luna, we have Cheng. And instead of Rubin, we have Krylak back with Chicho up top.
Yeah. I'm okay with. I guess I'm okay with all of them except for Hidalgo. I don't understand why Hidalgo is in there. Um,
Mhm.
just a preview of some of Pablo's post game comments. He was saying that Anelli was looking really good, and yet he hasn't played him for like the past 3 games.
Yeah. I I would have loved to see Anelli. I've mentioned several times that I love his speed because Brody doesn't really have the speed that Anelli does. Same with Oviedo. So having Hidalgo and Oviedo both playing on opposite sides didn't really make much sense to me in this one.
Yeah, it was a tough one to look at in terms of the lineup. Like, all right, first initial reaction for me with the lineup was I'm fine with it. In fact, I got a little excited seeing Krylock up there because I was thinking, okay, maybe this is a guy that's going to receive the ball. He's going to flick it on to Chicho. He's going to be that connection guy for Chicho to do things with. Um, it eventually didn't end up like that. It's just the same old Krylock as always, where
Yeah.
slow, out of position. I,
If
I mean, I love his leadership.
Well, I was counting in the first half alone when Krylak was playing because he got subbed out in the middle of the second half. He was offside 3 times in that first half. So I don't know if it was bad communication on that part or what. It's just we don't really see that much from RSL just being offside blatantly.
As in, like, he got called offside?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a oh yeah, there we are. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. But overall, I thought this lineup was passable. We had the talent is there. The I think everyone works well with each other in that lineup. I mean, if you take a step back and you look at all our players, there's not really a pairing or a couple of players that don't work well with others. Um, there might be a couple here and there. If I were to be really honest, I would say if we're gonna choose a couple that are um anti-workable, it
Mhm.
seems like I think Sava is not easy to work with. Um, who else?
I was gonna say first and foremost, it seems like Chicho because, like we mentioned, Chicho expects to be because now with the goal that he scored last night, that's 4 games in a row. I think he expects that to be the norm for him to be scoring every single game, but that's not really possible as of recently with us only scoring 5 goals in these past couple of games.
Well,
We're
that's
five.
that's because he's the one that's scoring the goals. So he scored
Yeah,
4 goals in the past 4 games.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I, I I think I might get some flack for this, but I really think Chicho is Espindola 2.0.
I I hate to agree, but it's sad. It's the sad reality.
I mean, they have the same kind of qualities where they get a Chicho doesn't get as upset as Espindola used to, but it's like, hey, put the ball there because I need it there because I want it there. If you don't get it there, I'm gonna get angry with you, not because I made the wrong run, kind of thing. Um. Anyways, this lineup was okay. It was passable for me.
Yeah, definitely one. We'll talk about it a little bit more later, but one player in particular that I would love to have seen would have been Anelli, like I mentioned before, because that's about 3 games in a row where Anelli hasn't been in the starting 11, and I don't know what's going on, what what Pablo sees that Hidalgo can bring that Anelli can't
Yeah,
makes 0 sense to me.
yeah. So let's dive into this. For me, the first half of the majority of it was kind of, to be honest, kind of meh. I don't know what did it feel like at the stadium.
It was very well, obviously, when we did score, everybody got excited. Like everybody felt like we might have a solid chance. But prior to that, just the dynamic, the whole game was just very blah. Like nothing was really flowing.
Now,
But
I mean, I will say this: there were shots,
oh
there were
yeah,
some good opportunities,
yeah.
but overall, I mean, it just there wasn't like a flowy. I will say this: we played a lot better this first half than we had in previous games, past
No,
couple games.
I was gonna say like this game seemed night and day difference from the San Jose game. If you remember, going down too early, quick, first 10-15 minutes, we're having shot after shot. And I was like, this is a different team from a couple nights ago. Fast forward to the 20th minute in this game. We'll start off right there. where we have Damir Kralik who goes in where it looks like a studs up challenge on. I'm trying to remember who he was it. I think it was against O'Brien. I think he's
Probably. To be honest, I didn't pay attention to who he almost killed, but
but yeah, it looked like he came in studs up. Ref pulls a yellow card, then goes to VAR. VAR just says yellow card is fine with that. Did
no,
you
VAR didn't say that. The center ref said that.
the center ref said? Did you agree with this, or did you think it was more a borderline red card?
Okay. If you really want me to break this down, let's break it down. The Krylock's tackle, so his foot was coming in straight, like cleats up.
Mm-hmm.
Cleats make contact with the side of the leg of one of the two that he tripped.
Yeah.
Now some would argue, and most likely on the Dallas side, they would probably say that's a straight red. That is a hard tackle. That is studs up. And there's probably a lot on the RSL side that think the same thing. I'm gonna go from I watched it in slow motion, and this is my analysis. It is this. When he goes in, he touches the leg. So I should rewind. He doesn't go with a lot of speed or force. He just goes in trying to reach for the ball and totally misses. Grabs the guy on the leg with the studs.
Yeah.
Now, because the speed it wasn't a fast speed. There wasn't a lot of force behind that leg. Those are vital in determining whether this is a serious foul play. That would be a red card definition. Also, when the studs hit the guy's leg, Dami, like you could see an automatic retraction. Like he felt it and he retracted. So that's when you know doubly that there's no force behind that. That's why I think that's why the referee went for the yellow card route, because of the lack of force on that tackle. So I would say this is an orange card because
I was getting ready for that. No, like I agree with that because yes, he didn't come in with a lot of force, but watching it live at the stadium, it looked as if Krylock came in studs up, fast motion, which in my opinion it should have been a straight red card. But with that exclamation, that makes more sense that he didn't have that kind of brutal force that we initially thought.
Well, I mean, that's one of the criterias of serious foul plays is the excessive force of the foul. There was no excessive force. And you can argue with me that other referees have given red cards for less and yada yada. Well, this one I think we're okay to chalk it up as a yellow. It is leading on to orange red.
Yeah.
But I think he did it yellow because at that point in the game, in fact, at that point of the game was manageable. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, he did it out of spite. He did it to try to kill someone.
Yeah.
But lucky for us, that referee wasn't in a bad mood. Because catch someone in a bad mood.
Oh yeah, that would have been a completely different decision if that was the case.
Catch a Kevin Stott in the middle there, and you would have seen red faster than you could say.
Well, I was gonna say somebody maybe like Nima Sagafi.
No, everyone loves Nima Sagafi. Why would you say that? All joking aside, I do like the guy, but yeah, yeah. So that's why I'm like, we're lucky that Krylak stayed on the field. But at the same time, I don't think it was a deserved red. It was a possible red. Hence why Alex Chilowicz called down to the referee, and referee's like, "Nap, I'm sticking with yellow."
Yeah. So good call there by the referee and his crew. And then we fast forward over to the 43rd minute where RSL finally we get a goal on the board, but not just any goal. We get an assist by Brian Ojeda, his first assist of the season. And boy, did that probably feel good for him to finally just shake that off and know that he can help out and on the scoring.
I mean, he probably knows that he can help out. Just he's never been in the situation or given the
Yeah,
opportunity or made a good enough pass to even get that stuff. But
it was a nice cross too from that right side. He just whips that in to Chicho, and Chicho just slots that home.
it was whooped in good. When I
Yeah.
say did I say whooped or whipped? Whatever. It was it was a good
Did
cross.
did they whip the ball?
He whooped the ball in. Um, yeah, because it was a one touch. Sava passed it and he just one touched it. He didn't even like settle it.
No, yeah.
And luck. I mean, I'm gonna say lucky a lot because really it was just pure happenstance that Chicho wasn't being marked tightly, and he didn't even have to jump for his header. It was like we had someone Krylock whiffed in front of him, and he just snapped the header. I mean, he did what he does best.
Yeah, because if you look at the two center backs for Dallas, Tarafi and I'm gonna butcher his name, but Ibigaha, they're both two huge guys, 6'3", 6'4". So the fact that Chicho was left wide open and nobody on him, pretty impressive. So good eye by Ojeda to know where Chicho was at to deliver that ball.
And do you know what's funny? I don't know if you're looking at the Fought Mob lineup online, but or heck, you can look it on your phone too. The lineups, how they match up. If you cover the lineups one on top of the other, which is it's not a feature. I just meant put in
I
your
was like
head.
I was like, is this new on FOTMob? I don't know about this.
Just put in your head. If you laid the lineups on top of each other, you can see that the our side with Chicho, Ojeda, and Chang
Hmm.
matches with the lower number lower what do you call it rankings of Dallas's defenders, so Tafari and Farfan. So that means our strong side was that right side for us, and that's where the cross came in from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our right side was doing a really good job, um, for the most part, the whole game, but especially
Yeah.
that first half.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like if you look over at the first half stats for us, we were even on possession, even on passing, which was surprising, both at 169, and shots were coming from both sides. So, and luckily we were able to get first on the board.
Now, I will say this. Now, um, let me highlight a couple of players that I was kind of disappointed in. Well, I'll say overall, but especially in that first half. Um, I was not too impressed with Sava. And even though Chicho got the goal, I was not too impressed with Chicho. Um, it,
Why were you not impressed with Saba?
um, I felt like there was a lack of urgency in his press, in his receiving and pushing the ball upfield. There was just the real phrase is lack of urgency because it was almost like a jog, a little bit faster than a jog everywhere.
But wouldn't you agree that Nelson was kind of that same way, kind of slow, monotonous, just no effort?
Also, but I can understand it from his position. He's a center defensive mid, which we'll get into this after this game. I this formation is being played horribly according to everyone's strengths,
Mhm.
but I don't expect Palacio to be sprinting and moving places, making runs. Where I expect Sava to be doing all that, and it almost seemed like Sava, knowing who was on the field, he didn't want to put forth any extra effort than what he actually had to do.
Yeah, and that's how we saw it in last Saturday's game against San Jose. Same kind of thing in this one. He just didn't really have the urgency. Nothing's pushing to help control that midfield once again.
You know what it looked like? It looked like when if you're paid hourly and you're just there to clock in, clock out, you're like you don't really care about the effort that you put in as long as they pay you, kind of thing.
That's how it seemed like as a whole for this club ever since the League's Cup against losing to LAFC, getting knocked out in Open Cup to Houston. It just had that kind of feeling we're just going through the motions. Nobody is really showing that they actually care to be on the field in general.
Yeah, and especially in our midfield, that's what it seems like. Ever since Ruiz, like Ruiz got injured. It's been like our midfield has not wanted to put forth any extra effort. And we can even call it people like Gomez, Luna. You can see that the effort on the field is not the same as what it used to be.
Would you say that's kind of the reason why Pablo has been switching it up with like the likes of Luna one game and then Cheng in this game? He's not really seeing either player having that urge, that push.
um, this is me being as nice as possible. I think Pablo is trying to be a philosopher here, and I think he's saying, well, I have to rest some guys. I'm going to try to switch them out and make sure that everyone has equal amount of playing time according to the amount of load that they're taking on. I find that bull honky because
Yeah.
you have guys like Messi who played since he got into the league. He played 7 straight games Wednesday, Saturdays. He
Yeah,
went like 3
he went
weeks straight.
he went literally all the way down to Argentina to go play some games and then comes back to Miami.
So I mean, if they're physical, if they're not physically ready or their conditioning is not ready to play 2 or 3 games in a row, then I'm worried about what the coaching staff, especially the physical trainers, are doing with this team, because that's not right. We shouldn't have to be rotating our midfielder, our wingers so
Yeah.
often. We shouldn't.
I can understand that for our defense because if you have multiple threats on
Not
a
even
defense,
not even on our defense. We shouldn't be rotating this often. We should have a core.
yeah, we're starting to look like the U.S. men's national team if we're going to keep doing this.
Is this what Berhalter ball feels like?
It sure seems like it, right? Having a different lineup formation every other game, it's the sad truth.
RSL
So,
plays Berhalter ball,
yeah,
which
no,
which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, weren't Pablo and Berhalter teammates back in the 2002, 2006 World Cups?
I do think so, and they probably were. They might have been teammates in the MLS at one point.
I'm just saying, I don't know about the teammates in the MLS
Well,
because
they definitely played against each other in the MLS.
let's see. In fact, Berhalter only played 2 seasons, 2 years in the MLS. Yeah, he played outside the United States for a while. Just
Yeah,
so you know.
so definitely on the U.S. men's national team together.
Yeah. In fact, there we are. Berhalter played a significant role at the 2002 World Cup, which is the same World Cup that Mastroeni had a significant role as well.
Yeah,
So yes,
yeah, yeah. So you might be right there. We might be playing Berhalter ball here.
is I think I just solved the reason for all our suffering. Did I not?
It's if that's the truth, then but look at the U.S. men's national team. They get rid of their coach and then bring him right back. So I feel like if we were to fire Pablo, we'd find some way to bring him right back. So it's a boomerang effect.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so we go
Let,
into halftime
yeah, I was
with a
gonna say
lot with a
let's
lot of
jump to the second
momentum.
half.
So we go into the no, we go into halftime with a lot of momentum. I'm not into the second half yet because I still have a lot of thoughts. Um, we end the first half with the goal, and usually that means we have momentum.
That's what I was thinking, honestly, too, because I was feeling very optimistic, feeling super happy. I was like, this is the time that we might be getting 3 points against a Dallas team who also has had some very good chances in the first half because Jesus Ferreira and we had Areola who had some decent looks, but things were kind of lining up in our favor.
Now, remind me, when was the last time Dallas won away?
Wasn't it? I think it was back in May.
You said sometime in May, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
Um,
early May.
so this gave us the confidence before
Oh
this
yeah.
game. We're like, yeah, they don't do well on the road.
No.
Also, we don't do well at home, but we can do better at being worse. No, no, that's what ended up happening. We ended up being better. We're the better worst team.
The better worst team. Yeah.
The worst of the worst teams. I don't know. Figure it out in your guys' head.
Yeah.
Um, so going into the halftime, the FOT mob momentum thing had us like sky high. We're like, right in this one, 1-0. What do you say to your guys at halftime if you're up 1-0, just barely coming off a goal?
Besides giving them the orange slices of Capri Sun, because apparently they didn't eat those at halftime.
Nope.
Whatever they're eating, it did not work. I would have just said, just keep it going. Let's keep the communication. Let's keep this momentum going into the second half, and just keep our chances going, because 1-0 is not a significant lead. We need to get one more goal to push it.
Well, Diablo con Pablo said something similar to that. It
Did they?
was, yeah, it was like, make sure you guys do this and this and this, which is fine. I don't know. I have a different style
Mhm.
of getting messages through to people. It works for some, doesn't work for others. But it almost seemed like there wasn't a sense of urgency to like keep going, keep attacking, as much as maybe that's what he felt inside, and that's what he thought he was conveying. Apparently, it didn't get to anyone in that locker room.
No, nope. It literally went in one ear, out the other ear for anybody who was listening, it seemed like, in the locker room. So right away in the second half, we literally go 10 minutes into the second half while we're up 1-0. We get a Paxton Pomykal who finds a cutting in Paul Ariola, who just slots it home. It's
So
like,
there, this was well, we're gonna call it a defensive breakdown. It was Silva trying to come out and defend it, block it, where he goes down onto like his one knee, trying to like make sure he doesn't get megged, and yet he got
yeah,
megged. And then Justin Gled, I don't know what he was doing, but like
I
instead of reaching for the ball, it's like he like short legged it, and like he didn't reach out. It was like a, oh, I can't straighten my leg kind of thing. I'm like, what the heck
it,
is wrong with you?
it's like if you're playing FIFA, the player, like, he was glitching out.
Like, like when you look at the replay, it's like, hey, if you actually stretch out that whole leg, you're gonna reach that ball. And
Right?
he's like,
Nope.
I don't want to.
Nope. Don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. So
And I don't, we don't know what he was thinking at that time. Maybe he thought that McMath was going to get it. Maybe he didn't think there's a defender there. I don't know. Or sorry, a forward there. I don't know what he was thinking.
yeah. So, and we know how dangerous Paul Ariola is. We've seen it in countless times with the U.S. men's national team, Dallas, and another player, along with Jesus. You don't leave wide open, and easy slot in right past Glad.
So 1-1 hits.
Yeah.
I'm swearing up and down because I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like the one thing that you're not supposed to do out of halftime after having momentum is do this. But we didn't
I,
have we didn't have momentum
I,
that first 10 minutes.
if I'm being honest, right after Ariel scored that goal for Dallas, I felt like we were on life support. Like, I didn't see a way back because, like we mentioned, there was no urgency from the get go in that second half, and nobody was pushing at all.
So and so this is where I have an issue with the whole second half after that first goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we had little spurts of 5 minutes of, oh yeah, okay, we got this, we got this, we got this, and then we would just die off,
Yeah.
and they go down and get an opportunity, which that leads to our second goal, where it was one of those where we were doing just fine,
Mm-hmm.
and then they did what we told them not to do last episode. They let him get behind the back line, and what happens?
Marcelo literally just TKOs and just slams on top of him.
I mean, it, here's my argument. I was I was arguing for Real Salt Lake in terms of that shouldn't be a foul. But the more you look at it, the more you're like,
Like,
gosh darn it.
how can you not call a foul or a yellow or even a PK for a player who just body slams him in the box?
Now, granted, I'm gonna make it sound a little bit more soft. It was more of
Okay.
he was reaching above the guy's head and just happened to use the forearm right across the back of the neck shoulder area and push him as he was heading it away. So
Well, for the size and strength that Marcelo is, it's kind of hard.
right, and that sucks. It sucks to be big and tall. That's
Do you
why
do you think that this one should have been red or yellow was the right call on this one?
um you you answer that one. Why do here, how about this? Why do you think it should have been a red?
Last man.
Okay. When you say last man, what's the actual term that
Well,
they use?
dog so
Okay,
denial of a goal scoring opportunity.
cool. Dog so. Now, what are the qualifications for dog so for it to be red?
Refresh me.
so so it has to be a pulling or tugging of the jersey to
Okay.
prevent the guy from even getting the ball. It has to be a foul where the ball was not playable.
Hmm.
Basically that actually is the general term of getting a red card for dog. So is playing either playing fouling the person where the ball's not playable, or it is an absolute obvious goal scoring opportunity. Like it is one-on-one kind of thing.
Yeah. So
This wasn't
so
one-on-one.
yeah. So looking at this one, it definitely wasn't because the ball was up in the air. Both players kind of going for a header in that motion, and Silva leaning forward just takes out the player.
I think Silva should have been more patient. Silva wanted to show aggression. Silva wanted to take command of that play. I think he could have bodied up the guy and not gone over, lunged at him, or done anything else because being under pressure, especially with Glad being right next to him, I don't think he would have taken a shot. He wouldn't have.
Yeah, or instead of Silva going up for that header, have that player go get it, and then maybe Silva situates himself towards the goal so then he can help defend it with McMath.
Either way, he shouldn't have gone for that header.
No, and that definitely right then and there, Jesus Ferreira goes and converts the penalty to make it 2-1. Right,
At that point,
it was game over.
it felt like it. It felt like game over. Because after that, it was almost like it, look, I understand that the team made their best effort in after that second goal. They went looking for that for the game tying goal. They went for it.
Yeah, because
But
7 minutes after Jesus Ferreira converts that penalty, RSL does 3 substitutions. We take out Palacio, we take out Chang, we take out Krylock, and we have Loflison, Gomez, and Julio come in. We have that's three. Well, I guess yeah, three midfielders. Do you think that those were the players that we needed at that time, being down a goal to come back?
I'll correct you, two midfielders and a forward. But
Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
um, Krylock needed to come off for
Oh yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Um, Ojeda wasn't having the greatest game. So sorry, no,
Ojeda,
I'm sorry,
Ojeda
not
stayed in the
Ojeda,
whole game.
not Ojeda. Oh my gosh, I looked at Ojeda and I sorry, yeah, I was looking at Ojeda, looking at Palacios, and I read Ojeda. Palacio wasn't having the best game.
Yeah,
Um, and Chang was having a good game
he
for
was.
me. Chang haters are gonna keep being Chang haters. The guy's 30 years old, and people are gonna be wondering why are we playing a 30-year-old when we have a 22-year-old, 21-year-old, we have all these young guys, 20-year-olds.
Yeah, like
Um,
Chang finished with 22 of 26 of his passes for 85%, and he created 3 chances for us in last night. So pretty decent game for a player who normally doesn't start.
right. I mean, he puts in good work. For the majority of the time, he puts in great work. But I think we needed speed, and that's why
Mhm.
we took off Chang. I'm fine with that. That's a logical change. Whether it was the actual change we needed, I don't think so because of remember back to our conversation. That side of the field was causing havoc for
Yeah.
their left backs.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I wouldn't have done the change. But even the changes that came in, Gomez was the only one that was The other two, Anderson had one offside and he was MIA the rest of the game.
Yeah, like towards the end of the game, I totally forgot that Gomez came in because I was like, where is Gomez? Haven't
Yeah.
really seen much.
Yeah,
So
and Lavelson was the same thing. It was like,
yeah, so 2 minutes after these three subs come in, O'Brien finds Jesus Ferreira, and Jesus Ferreira gets his brace to then make it 3-1 on the night.
ugh. So this is another center back breakdown.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because I've been cheering for Glad for a long time, like a lot of us.
Yeah,
But
you gotta love a good homegrown player.
this is another one that is his fault. Um, he overcommitted on Jesus Ferreira and gets eaten by the turf monster. I don't know how he fell down, but some will argue that Jesus, like when Glad was on his way down, kind of gave him a little push to the ground and kept running. Whatever, it is what it is. Glad overcommitted, and that
Yeah.
overcommitment caused an outnumbering. It wasn't even like a breakaway. It was like a quick play where the guy that Jesus Ferreira passed the ball to passed it right back to him, and he just dribbled down into the box and curled it around McMath.
Yeah, we literally just gave that goal to them on a platter. Just you don't leave O'Brien and Jesus. Just it was just a give me. And Jesus with his brace makes it 3-1. So that was it. But if you look at the stats for the second half, we were owning them in that second half. So 61% possession for us compared to their 39, and then our 190 to their 113 for passes. So it's like we were controlling that second half, but not when it comes to scoring goals because that's just absolutely embarrassing and ridiculous to let in 3 goals in the second half.
Well, and going back to what you said about if we had a majority of the possession that second half, look at the breakdown where those passes occurred, where the majority of them, in fact, I would say somewhere around 55% of those passes occurred. Do you know where?
Right in the midfield.
In our own half.
Yeah.
So over half those passes were in our own half, which means a lot of the time where RSL plays this, where we go down our wings. If we can't cross it in because that's what Pablo wants to do is just cross them in, we usually pull it back out and pull it all the way back to our defenders, who then just kind of bump it around back and forth back there until a midfielder comes up and they try to start play again. If they get any kind of oh my gosh, I can't say the word right now. What is it? Any kind of pressure, thank you. They just send it
I got you.
right. They send it right back. They drop it back. That is the style that I hate. It's like, no, don't drop back. Look for a square.
That loses our momentum and just that push forward to want to just get any chance going, and that's what's been killing us because we've been doing that all season long. We go forward and then we just completely just start going backwards back to our defense.
Yeah, and going back to Berhalter ball, that's what they do on the national team
No,
too.
exactly.
So they don't press forward because they're like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of pressure. We need to back it out and let it breathe. Which again, this is I really think that this kind of style comes from veteran defenders. Pablo was a defensive midfielder, played
Mhm.
defensively.
Yeah.
Berhalter is a center back. That kind of style does not work against elite teams. It doesn't. It is you score, you hunker down.
Yeah.
That,
It's the sad truth, but it needs to change. I don't know how, but
well,
something has to.
let's talk about it. So, in this lineup, um, we've seen a lot of these people, a lot of these players play multiple games now,
Yeah.
and during this bad streak. Who
Correct.
do you think needs to see the bench immediately?
Um first and foremost, I want to see Glad take the bench because we've seen his performance on defense, whether it be own goals, whether it be his performance against Dallas, and as well as San Jose against Espinoza and Abobase in that match. I just want to see him to get a rest. And then I want to see my man, Kevin Lambert. Give me Kevin Lambert. I want to see a Kevin Lambert and Brian Vera backline because those two guys would be huge because it makes zero sense be having a guy like Lambert starting for the Jamaican national team, doing well in the Gold Cup, mind you, and then nothing. We bring him up from the USL. He literally gets 5 minutes off the bench and nothing ever since. Just riding the bench.
Yeah. I'll agree. I'll agree with Glad. I mean, not because he's played so many games, but I think he needs to reset mentally. He's had too many mistakes during
It's
this
it's
bad streak.
it's what 3-4 own goals this season. It was in that game against Monterey in the Leagues Cup where I was like, he's just not having the season like we're used to seeing him.
Yeah. Heck, even more recently against Portland, where he
Yeah.
it was one of those. It was one of those. You throw it up and got it.
It's a
um,
nice lob.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Glad mentally. And this is where I'll get into a Pablo Mastroeni stage. If these guys are not mentally prepared or mentally ready, they need to, or Pablo needs to see that and sit them and have them like refocus or something. Have putting them back into the lineup or putting them back into games is not doing anyone any favors. They're not gaining confidence. In fact, they're making more mistakes.
Yeah, literally having Hidalgo sit and then Inelli sit, and then literally throwing them into the fire into a big game like this against Dallas. That's not the solution. Have them continuously starting game after game so they're getting this experience, getting this confidence, so they're not just making these mistakes.
Yeah. Um, who's another one that you think should be benched?
Um, I kind of want to just focus on our defense, honestly, because our defense has just been like Swiss cheese.
Well, here's the thing. You can't really say bench Marcelo because we've been benching him quite
Yeah,
often.
yeah, and
So,
his contract I think is up at the end of the season, so
no, he wasn't one of them.
no.
No. Um,
I would have.
Oviedo,
I was either going to say Oviedo or Nelson, but
but
yeah, I want to see Brody go back to that left back and then bring back a Nelly and then keep with those solid backs. None of this switching back and forth game after game. Keep it consistent. Have Brody play that spot and Nelly back on the right, and hopefully that changes something on our defense.
now, who do you think is on the bench currently that should be starting and that will bring a lot of success and help to the
Are,
starting lineup?
are we talking about in the Dallas game who was on the bench or just
Who's been on the bench lately? I mean, at this point, everyone's touched the bench except for
uh,
Glad.
it's true. Yeah, it's true. I don't think you're wrong there because we have Beavers that have started games. We've had even we've had players like Yakusin start games this season.
Yeah. So someone from the bench, who do you think should be in the starting lineup? I'm going to throw this out. Besides Kevin,
Besides Kevin,
I know you want Kevin, but besides Kevin, who do you think is the difference maker that needs to be in the starting 11?
man, that's a tough one. Just because currently RSL has zero attack because of the whole Musovsky situation. But I'm gonna have to go with Luna just because he's such a young player, 20 years old, and yes, he doesn't have the speed like a Gomez and a Julio bring, but he does bring that footwork and that creativity that some other players bring. Like yes, Savarino can bring that, but I know if we have Luna and Sava, those two would maybe work well together in our midfield.
I think lately Luna's confidence has been shattered. So
Do you think it's because he's kind of been riding the bench?
riding the bench, possibly personal issues outside of the field, um, possibly not being able to jive well with teammates. Remember, he's not only is he one of the youngest, but for I've never really met Diego. I don't know how much Spanish he speaks, but amongst all the young ones around his age, most of them speak Spanish except for Anelli and Hidalgo.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
and
true.
and when you see him on their team walks, you don't really see him really chit-chatting with people. I mean, it could be his personality, but it almost seems like he's not integrated with the group.
No,
That
that definitely could be a possibility. Like I think you mentioned it towards the early part of this season when you have a bunch of Colombians and all the Hispanics, they're gonna immediately just mix and just become best friends. And I just don't think Luna has been really part of that group. And Glad's friends with everybody. So I don't know what it is about Luna or that kind of dynamic.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate any farther, but
No,
I
definitely.
think I wouldn't be putting Luna in that starting lineup. The only person that I'd be putting in that starting lineup right now that the past couple of games has been fire as a sub is Gomez.
Interesting. Interesting.
I only say that because the past couple of games that he's played out of the last 5 games that he's played because he's had very limited minutes.
Yeah.
3 of them he's gotten a 7.0 rating or above.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you look at the rating for last night for him was I'm trying to look at those. He was 11,
7.0.
7.0. Yeah. So I do agree. He would be one who I want to see start in. I want to because we saw at the beginning of the year he had multiple games with assists. It was him and Sava working well, and I knew that we made the right decision to spend so much money on this kid. And right now, it's not really paying off for RSL for the amount of money that we spent on him.
Yeah, right now it's been kind of a really rough go. But I
And who knows if it's still him trying to transition to playing away from home, new teammates, new culture. I don't know what it is about that.
I'm not sure, but well, we can dive into this now. When you don't have when you have a coach that doesn't really it's from our perspective and from my perspective more specifically, that doesn't seem to like push you to the extremes to make you better.
Yeah.
It really has been feeling like a like a kumbaya session every single training. It's like, how are we feeling? Are we mentally ready? It's like, I get yourself physically ready too. Like the mentally part will come when you're physically ready, when you're ready to just run 90, run yourself into the dirt for the team. Because when you're physically ready, at least for me, I've always been mentally ready because I physically have prepared myself. That means at the same time I'm mentally prepared to do
No,
whatever it takes.
absolutely. Like, yes, it's important to be mentally ready for these huge games, whatever the opponent RSL is facing. But set that aside. We need to be focusing mainly on the physical aspect. Can these guys go, some of these go 90 minutes? Can they only go 40? Well, something needs to change then.
Well, I mean, again, gonna get flack. People are probably gonna stop listening at this point. But uh, it's a balance. It obviously is a balance.
Yeah.
But at this point, our mentality is so far in the pits that I think we need to physically prepare ourselves to go up against people that are going to be as physically ready or more physically ready than we are. We need to be able to be ready to body up. We need to be ready to run, sprint, make those runs. We need to
Yeah.
be ready to be physically aware of what's going on around us. When that happens, I think it comes with the mentality. They work hand in hand, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think in my experience, when I when I go to the gym, physically go to the gym, and I physically do something, I at the same time mentally say, okay, I'm doing this. I got to do this. I have to do this. Whereas if I'm sitting at home and I mentally prepare myself to go to the gym, I'm like, I got to go to the gym, got to go to the gym. Nope, not going to the gym.
So Alan, how's the gym going for you?
If I stand up, you'll see how it goes. But I mean, does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Like if you want it, then you'll go after it. You'll chase it.
I mean, for me, it's do as you say, not think as you say.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's not really a phrase. I just made that up. But like do the action instead of just think the action.
definitely.
Because what does the phrase say? Um oh, fake it till you make it. There we are. Fake it till you make it.
And there's been a lot of faking for RSL so far.
So speaking of faking till you making it, that sounded really horrible. Faking till you making. I'm gonna say it again. Anyways, faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
Um, Pablo Mastroeni. Do you think as a coach he's faking it until he makes it? I'm putting you on the hot spot right now.
You are putting me on the hot spot. I I would say partially has to do with him, but like I've mentioned before, I think a main portion has to do with this team and the chemistry and the communication and something going on in the locker room, whatever it may be. People are just not jiving.
There's got to be something, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So Pablo had some words that you recorded from that press conference. So
You did.
we're gonna take a listen. We're gonna let you guys listen right now. Take a listen.
I think it's easy. It's we had an opportunity to make plays on two or three different moments on that first goal, but then after that first goal, it was almost like we switch off and start thinking so much about that moment that we're not dialed in for the next few moments. And again, the recent run form hasn't been good enough, and that is a confidence thing. And so you see some plays where you're scratching your head, and a lot of that comes from a lack of confidence in the moment. And what we need at this moment is guys to step up and guys to really show the character and guys to really put the team on their back. And we haven't had that. And again, I'm 100% responsible for all of it. What I just told the guys is the only way to win games is for each of you to be responsible when the game is playing. Right? We can train, looks great, but in these moments that the game throws curveballs at you, how do you stand up in the face of adversity and say, now it's my time, now it's my time? And again, that's the only way to affect results is on the field. Off the field, my responsibility. Training, my responsibility. But the game is made for the players. And what makes soccer unique than any other sport is that the coach's influence during the game is the least of any sport. And so the responsibility and the leadership on the field has to be such that in those moments, pull the guys together. A little, hey, focus here. This is an important moment. Can't affect it from the sidelines, right? And so, so we're obviously going through a real tough time. We've got 5 games left. We've got to win three of the 5 probably. And I know we can do it. There's no doubt in my mind that we can do it. Today the game felt so under control. Dallas looked like they couldn't get near the ball. But it was like 3 or 4 moments that we were just tuned out and cost us the game.
Okay, Marcos, after hearing that,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on what Pablo said?
I definitely appreciate the fact that he owned up for his mistakes, but there's more to that. We want to see change. We want to see consistency moving forward, just not the same old, same old.
Yes, I can see that. And sure, I can appreciate finally we hearing him say I take 100% of the blame. But
Yeah.
right after he said that, it almost seemed like he was deferring blame. He's like spreading the blame everywhere. He's like, in layman's term, he's like, but it's not really 100% my fault. It's actually the players who actually play the game. That's their fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we really get into it, and I hope we have some time to get into some comments that we received. How can you as a coach say the players on the field do what they have to? I can't do much for them. There's got to be something you can do, right?
I don't know what else there is to do because he's literally dictating them and telling them, giving them the speech, telling about their mentality, psychology, all these things, but it's just not going in. It's going in one ear, one out one the other ear. So nobody is putting it to heart on the pitch.
Yeah, it's super frustrating to be honest. And you're like, bro, like really, really. And so I guess with that, let me get into a couple of comments that we received
Oh,
from
please,
people.
let's hear this.
Um, shoot, there's gonna be a lot of them. So here we go. We're gonna do our best.
Okay, okay.
Here we go. At and Bark for real. Nick Barker says there's a reason we haven't had a penalty all season. There's a reason we have only accumulated less than 0.8 xg total yesterday. This team is not creative. It relies on set piece service and crosses, but it isn't built for that. To insist we play the style we do is foolish.
Well, first off, Nick, I totally forgot that about that stat. I forgot that we haven't scored a penalty kick all season. So thank you for reminding me. But I would kind of agree with that, that a lot of our goals do come from set pieces, which it, I wouldn't say that we rely on that, but it kind of does seem like that.
It's what Pablo preaches. He preaches send the balls out wide, cross them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
He
And
preaches it.
and that's not how RSL has played in years past. We're used to passing in the midfield, kind of like Barca, with that ticky tacky and just owning that possession. But
But
no,
it's been like 6, 7 years since we've played like that.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, and these are answering the question of what are you feeling seeing this table? And I put the picture of the table with 5 games left for RSL. Draper Ute at Brad Carter _UT says mostly anger. 2 years of bad form at home, inability to defend, set pieces are terrible, giveaways in the defensive half leading to counterattack goals, sloppy, lazy, boring, and uninspired play. As a longtime season ticket holder, I'm tired of it.
I understand his frustration, his his anger, all these past now 3 seasons of us just being very mediocre. Past 2 seasons, we've made it into playoffs on decision day, and I'm kind of getting that feeling that it's going to be deja vu 3 years in a row because nothing has changed as of recently. So we're just same old, not being able to find the ball in the back of the net.
Let me just read. I'm going to just read straight through the rest of these.
Yeah,
And
let
this is only one tweet too, just by the way.
oh wow, let's hear it.
Yeah, so one says, seriously, who finds this fun? This is Russell Grizz, Grandpa Grizz. Sorry, we call you Grandpa Grizz, but you're Grizz father. Whoever finds the play we saw on the pitch last night fun, this is misery, this is disgust, this is unhappiness, this is torment, this is torture, this is agony, this is suffering, this is grief, this is sorrow, this is anything but fun. Ouch. Um, at Bardicus J says, I just don't care anymore. We had such a great shot at actually winning something this year, and now it's all gone. Our season is over. And
Mm,
at Jake D Snake 90 said, as a former RSL fan, eek. I'm already eeking at that one. As a
eek.
former RSL fan and someone who is just a casual observer nowadays, this seems about on par with RSL, so I'm not shocked. It's to be expected.
It's just sad to hear some of these comments. Like it's what's obviously what happened last night. It's what's been happening the past couple of games. But it's what I've said game after game when we do have these downfalls. We need to still believe in this club. Like we don't see big clubs like Manchester United, Liverpool, like they have their ups and downs too. And look at you guys. You guys, everybody's still fans of them. So
I mean,
we need
it's true.
we need to still stay true to our club and still believe and trust the owners because we saw what Ryan Smith and David Blitzer have brought to this club in buying the players. So who knows what they're going to do this offseason.
But it's not them. They aren't the issue right now. We have the talent.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
we can't do anything on the pitch.
Well, it's either the players or the coaches, because outside of that, we have the people. Let me read off a couple more about comments from the Pablo video.
Okay, okay.
They said he's right. The players are making stupid individual mistakes and losing us the games. That's from MLS Collectors. Cole Lotz says, granted, most the players who would be stepping up are either overshadowed by the worst players or are being subbed on in the 80th minute or later. Kathy Barney says, I've been a season ticket holder for 9 years and I don't even want to come to the games anymore. And that makes me sad. I have zero confidence in this team. Braden says, so he's sharing the blame realistically. And Joe Henry said, fix it, Pablo. I'm sick of this.
Yeah, it's sad reality that some of these long-time RSL fans just have no desire to want to come to games anymore after 9+ seasons. But I can understand you guys' frustration, understand where you guys are coming from, but just believe. Believe that this team will find a way to turn around because yes, there's still 5 games. Yes, we play some teams that are above us, Vancouver, LAFC. I think yeah, those are the only 2 teams that are above us, but just know that we only have a few games left and we can still we're literally doggy paddling above on water just to stay alive afloat, but things hopefully will have a bright side.
Look, I'm kind of in their boat. Like I'm almost tired of believing. Like I'm at this point I'm watching because I'm a fan. But man, this is really wearing and tearing. But speaking of upcoming games, like you just said, we have Saturday.
We do have Saturday. And like I mentioned, it's a team that's right above us in the standings, who's literally right above us. They're at what? 41, we're at 40 points. So 5th place against 6th place on Saturday. And Vancouver is coming off a 4-1 defeat to Houston, who is a very good team. So this is
hey, we know how that feels.
Hey, we know how it feels to lose to Houston, and so this is 2 away games in a row. So they're kind of might be feeling a little bit of jet lag.
Interesting. Yes, especially coming off of a Houston Heat, and apparently, that game was not going in their favor whatsoever.
No, not at all. So if you look at Houston, their formation that they play every single game.
Vancouver or Houston?
I meant Vancouver, but I said Houston.
It must be that late.
No, so Vancouver. So if you look at the formation that Vancouver plays every single game, they play a 3-1-4-2. So very attack minded. And you look at their 2 attacking players up top in Gald as well as White. So White this season, 11 goals, 4 assists. So very dangerous player. And Ryan Gald, 10 goals, 9 assists. Gald is second in the MLS on assists at 9 assists. So 2 very dangerous players. That scares me big time.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he had 10 goals, 9 assists.
Yeah. Second in the MLS in assists.
You left me speechless.
Yeah. I name another team that we've played this season that has two goal scorers. That's scary.
2 double-digit goal scores? I can't. Off the top of my
Yeah.
head, I can't think of one.
Yeah, I because LAFC, all they have is Bawanga. Yeah, that's
Wow.
that's that's a very dangerous attack. So
So then what do you expect out of this game from what do you expect from Vancouver?
like I mentioned, they're coming off of a defeat on the road, so they're wanting some revenge. They want to get a point because the Western Conference is a tight race right now, and they play very attacking, so they're gonna be coming out wanting to score a goal quick and early.
And I can only imagine if they have two double-digit scores, that means, like you just said, it's fast offense. So that means there's not a lot of possession. So I'm gonna assume that RSL is gonna have a lot of possession, um, and Vancouver's just gonna try to capitalize on fast breaks.
Yeah, because if you look at the stats in that loss that they had to Houston on Wednesday, they weren't really controlling that in the first half. It was all Houston with that 52 to 48 possession. Same with the passes to 174 to 154. So they don't need to control the possession per se to to own that game.
Yeah, which is all. I guess it's all right in a sense, but at the same time, it scares me because that means they can just break at any time, at any point.
Yeah, yeah.
So, um, I'm that's that. I guess that's one thing. Like I said last game, because Dallas is also a kind of a direct team.
Hmm.
Um, our defensive back, they need to be prepared for any over the top balls, which means get rid of Glad, get rid of Marcelo.
So are you saying it's a Vera Lambert time? Oh my goodness.
I do see. I would want to see a
Yeah,
Vera Lambert. I would want to see a change. Vera's coming back, obviously,
yeah, yeah.
but
And
who's going to be pairing up with him?
I ideally it would be Lambert just because of the size. And then I want to see Brody go back to his original spot in that left back role. Bring Anelli back in the right back. And I want to see in our midfield. I would you want to have Gomez be starting this match?
Look, he hasn't started in a quick minute, so um, for me at this point, I'm going to play some Pablo ball, and I'm going to be like, yeah, sure, what the heck? Let's just change the lineup again.
No, it's either going to be a Gomez or a Luna starting right there in that midfield, and then same with Ojeda, Palacio, and then Sava. And I don't know who's going to be starting up top. Is it going to be a Rubin? Is it going to be Krylak with Chicho? It's like flip a coin. Which player wants to start this match?
Would it be Moose?
No, no. if
Uh,
if we haven't heard anything yet, then not happening.
yeah.
So obviously, RSL fans, if you do keep up with Vancouver and everything happening in MLS, you know that Sergio Cordova no longer with Vancouver. So if you're hoping to see him Saturday, not happening.
I wasn't too worried because he's not one of their leading goal scorers.
No, he when he was with Vancouver, he wasn't doing much at all.
I mean, I think he ended up with like 5 or 6 goals, something like that. I can't remember.
That's almost
It,
a
it,
tie for our. That's almost tied for our type of goal scorer.
yeah, I was gonna say, and that was maybe if he was on a. Let's see. I'm gonna look it up real quick. It's gonna take me 3 seconds. One, two, three. Oh no, he only had 2 goals. But anyways, that's what I'm looking for RSL and Vancouver. Um, but looking at the time right now, I can see it in your eyes.
I can see it in your eyes too, because you know what time it is.
Oh yes.
I do know what time it is. It is prediction time. So, my friend, since you went first on Wednesday, I believe it's all me.
Do it.
So, like I mentioned, Vancouver, they are a surprisingly very good team. 2 goal scorers with 10 plus goals. Us coming off of a defeat on Wednesday, Vancouver coming off a defeat on Wednesday as well. I just don't see the momentum changing at all in our favor. So give me a 2-0 win for Vancouver.
Ooh, flip. Um,
Yeah.
I'm really struggling at right now because I just after seeing that Vancouver tied or not tied, oh my gosh, lost to Houston badly. They are
Yeah.
probably really tired of road everything. So um I'm actually gonna throw in some hope
Okay.
for some points. And why not? I'm gonna say 2-0 for RSL.
So we're complete opposite.
I don't know. In fact, I'm gonna tell you this. Um the reason why I'm wearing this jersey today is because I decided to go back and look at what I was wearing before each of our last wins. And against Colorado, I was wearing the 3-star. Against Leon, I was wearing the River Plate purple jersey.
Uh,
And against Seattle, I was wearing this jersey.
so that's been the mistake. You're the reason they've been losing so many games.
So I'm wearing this hoping for a win.
So Alan and I with two complete opposite predictions. Who's going to be right? Stay tuned Saturday, 7:30 at the Riot. Battle for 5th place because Vancouver 5th, RSL 6th. It's gonna be a good one. So stay tuned. MLS Season Pass. If you guys are not following us already, head to Instagram, head to X, head to Threads, give us a like, give us a follow, as well as on Facebook. We're there as well. If you're watching this video, if you don't want to watch this video, we're on Spotify. We're on Apple as well. So on the go, running errands at the gym, listen to us there as well. And you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening, following us everywhere.
It's true. We are really grateful. And hopefully we can keep you entertained for a long time.
Yeah, win, lose, draw, we're all family. And this is RSL family.
This is the RSL Bros.
This is the RSL Bros. But stay tuned next week, guys, because we got big plans coming next week. So stay tuned.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
We'll catch you guys next week.
Chachoo!
Bye.